Hello everybody. So I wanted to make a video about a couple terms and just buying a pet in general. But there's been a couple terms that I have come across while researching pets, and one of those is husbandry, and I think this is more typically used in the um, like for reptiles and such. Maybe that are just more serious pet owners, and I don't really want to say serious, but like non-cat dog, so more, I guess, exotic type pet owners or something. Um, because, when it comes to cats and dogs, we're all so used to having them, and it's different when we have cats and dogs because we expect them to behave a certain way. We do things for them. We know them. We know them backwards and forwards, even though each one may have a different personality. Our culture is so ingrained in taking care of cats and dogs that we know what to expect. We know what to expect. We know how they are. But when it comes to other animals, we don't really know everything about taking care of them. And thanks to a friend of mine for passing along a couple pets my way, I have now gotten to that point where I've also been taking care of reptiles. I've taken care of birds. I've taken care of some reptiles in the past. My mom did kind of, and I really wasn't really into them at the time. They were frogs, I think. I don't know. I'm still not really into frogs and toads as pets. It's not my thing. Actually, I don't. I've even had small rodents, although the smallest I've gotten for a pet was a guinea pig, because that's the smallest I'm willing to go. I don't like small animals. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. But anyways, so this one particular term that I've heard is husbandry, and it almost threw me off at first. I was like, wow, patriarchal society coming into the pet world. Woo! Great job, world. But then I was like, okay, so how do we define um, being a pet owner or being someone who has animals in our house that are typically considered pets, whether or not you call them your kids or whatever. But even like parenting, a lot of times we think of parenting because, we have to care for them, they're in our care, and so we feed them and we water them and we change their poop or whatever. We do that for parenting. But at the same time, so maybe this is kind of where those weird terms go. Okay, yes, I know I'm talking, and there's a camera. She's looking at me like I'm crazy, so. Anyways, so there's a couple of terminologies that, like I said, the husbandry and the parenting. But what's interesting with parenting, though, is, so often we think that we have to take care of our kids. Of course we do. But we often look at our kids as like miniature versions of us, which they aren't actually, by the way. I mean, they are technically, they're Homo sapiens, so they are little itty bitty humans, but they're still humans. And so they each have their own personality and whatever, and they're not going to do everything we want them to do exactly how we want them to do it. We just kind of have to help them grow to be their own best versions of themselves, which is not easy by any means. So, do we do that with pets? Uh, well, pets, yes, we have to take care of them, whatever, because they are in our care and we are responsible for them. And at some point, humans have taken pets out of their natural environment. So, yes, it is our duty to make sure that they have everything they need. Um, but I don't know if I would really consider them my kid. Um, Although I don't know if husbandry is the right term either. But if we look at husband and wife and the marital system, not in the way that it has been portrayed for hundreds and thousands of years, and we look at it more as something that not in the patriarchal system, but two people who come together to form a union for the betterment of both of themselves, or it benefits both of them, whatever. And for that, I guess perhaps husbandry is a good term. I mean, I suppose I could say I'm the wife in this mix, and Jill's my husband. What? Now she's really giving me the weird stink eye, like, you're nuts. Anyways, but again, there it's hard to say, it's hard to take the sex out of, and not like intercourse sex, but the male female um sexual terms, like the male female sex terms. So the male female dichotomy out of marriage, or the concept of marriage, because we really don't have any other good terms for that concept. Even with gay couples, for example, it's still very, they say, well, they're my husband or they're my partner. So maybe we could say partner, because that is a term that's coming up more. But it's not really very cemented, solidified as saying husband or wife. When you say a husband and wife, you are saying that you have taken the time and you are committed to the other person. So in that respect, it's hard to find maybe another word for that. We can say partner, we can say significant other, whatever, when it comes to relationships. But when we say husband and wife, we know those people have taken those vows and it is cemented. So I think that's really where the term husbandry has come in, is that, when you have an animal, they are such a huge time commitment. They're with you for life. They really are. Just like when two people get married, they are with you for life. So if you are really wanting a pet, just remember that they are with you for their entire lives, unless you happen to have like an animal that outlives you, which is pretty rare, but does happen. Like turtles, for example. Sammy, our turtle, she might surpass us. I don't know. Depends on how long she lives. Jill, on the other hand, unless I have a car accident, you'll probably be spending the rest of your years with me, I'm assuming, unless something happens. I hope you're okay with that. I can't tell if she's okay with that. And she also is not happy with me because she was trying to rest and I picked her up and drug her out here so she could be a part of the video, because I thought this would be a more interesting rant on being a pet owner if I had a pet in hand. Anyways, what? You're not, would it help if I called you a dragon? Okay, fine. I'll call you a dragon. You're not a pet, you're a dragon. Is that better? Okay. Anyways, so yeah, so I thought this would be better, and I thought it'd be neat to have a companion or a helper with me while making this video. And she's also probably not in the most comfortable position. One of her legs is kind of boinked and her tail's kind of boinked, and so she's probably not in the most comfortable position, but she's pretty chill and relaxed. She didn't bite me for taking her out of her cage when she was trying to rest, so that I'm grateful for. But anyways, okay, back to the subject at hand with the husband and wife and the whatever. So when we get a pet, obviously we have them for life, for their life at least, most likely. And it's really important to remember that. I think when we get so caught up in being a human, and we have this idea that, you know, we it's almost like we forget, I think. As we get older, I think we realize this, but especially as we're young, we tend to think that things are going to be stable, that, whatever, it's going to be like this. And so that was really bad explanation. We think moments in time. We think, we very much tend to think in the moment, I should say. In the moment. And we almost never plan for the future until, of course, like I said, we get older and then we begin to. But even I am horrible at this. I am horrible at planning for the future. think I'm really good at it, but I'm not. I suck. Because the future is always changing, and we never we can lay out a plan. Everybody's like, well, lay out your plan. Well, yeah, well, life doesn't work like that. So congratulations, whoever thought of that idea. Life doesn't work like that. So you can think of whatever plan you want. You can think in the future, but it usually doesn't work out like that. But either way, we're really bad at thinking ahead. We're really bad at thinking far into the future. And so we get up ahead and we think, oh, hey, they're going to be with us for however long, whatever their life. But then things happen in life. Maybe we have to move, maybe we have to do whatever. But then what are we doing with our pets? When we got them, we hopefully when you get a pet, you take that time to make that commitment to your pet, for better or worse, for richer or poor. God dang it, you're gonna take care of that pet no matter what. And so often we get a pet thinking this, but then later down the road, we're like, oh no, what am I gonna do with this pet, right? I got this pet, I wanted this pet, but now I don't have time for it, I don't have a place for it, whatever. But you really need to think about your pets as you're going through your life changes. And I mean, sometimes, granted, it doesn't always work out. Sometimes it is better for that pet to find a new home. But hopefully, when you commit to your pet, you are committing for better or worse. Will you stop looking at me? I am not proposing to you. I'm not putting a wedding ring on your finger. I hope you're looking at me with love and adoration. I love you too. Anyways, but of course, even before you get a pet, it's really important to remember that. But it's also really, really important to remember to do your homework. And, I tend to find topics that I'm really passionate about. And when I do find something I'm really passionate about, I dive in and I try to get as much information about that topic as possible. And when I got Jill, I did the same thing. And I found out everything I was doing wrong with Jill. And so we have made a lot of adjustments, and we are continuing to make adjustments because I'm still doing things wrong with her care, because reptiles and lizards, their care is very specific. It's not hard once you get into a routine with it, but it's not really it's not an easy pet. My daughter and I were having this discussion last night because she's wanting a pet. She's wanted a pet for a long time, but she's really bad at taking care of her own things. She's bad at taking care of herself, bad at taking care of her broom. And so that's a conversation we've had. In fact, when we got Sammy and Jill, Jill's my bearded dragon and Sammy's my turtle, we were actually getting them for the girls. But again, I kind of figured that when we were getting them, I knew that I would probably end up taking care of them, and I was right. Um, yeah, I know. Gee, shocking, right? Because who feeds you disgusting crickets? Not anymore, not me. But I did. And who feeds you worms? Yep. And all your veggies and fruits when you eat them. Well, it would help if you actually ate some of them. I like that you like blueberries, but you can't eat them all the time. I'm just saying, you're not supposed to eat them a lot. They're fruits. It's like sugar. It's like candy. We have a strict policy against candy. She's looking mad at me again. Anyways, so please make sure you do your homework, especially with bearded dragons. I had no idea how many things could go wrong with bearded dragons, and I'm really actually very grateful that I didn't get her when she was a baby, because when they are itty bitty babies, especially like when you go to a pet store and you buy these pets and they're itty bitty 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 babies, and what? Anyways, when they're itty bitty bitty babies, so much can go wrong, especially with bearded dragons, because most of their growing takes place in those first years, those first couple years. In fact, in a span of 6 months to a year, a lot of their growing is done. So you have to make sure that you do certain things in a certain way, because otherwise, well, things can go wrong. A lot of things can go wrong. I know. You actually ended up pretty good compared to some dragons I've seen. You know that, right? I didn't even get you when you were a baby. But you did end up pretty good compared to some dragons. I know we're still working on it and you're still growing. I know. I'm turning into a reptile mom-ish person. See, I don't even like saying mom though. And I don't like saying owner because I don't own you. It's like a mutual understanding of companionship and taking care of you, I guess. I don't know. I think that's how most pets should be. And maybe the actual phrase or word pet, maybe that's what it meant when it started out. But I think, a lot of people have taken that phrase of a pet and they don't agree with it. Something doesn't ring right. A lot of people that I have talked to with pets about the term pet, they don't like it because they feel like they are above their pet. And anyways, they don't like it. They don't like the word pet because they feel like they're above their pet and that their pet is then below them. And so they will say like, well, they're family or whatever, which yes, they are family, especially if you take really good care of them. But at the same time, they're not the same species as you and they do require a different level of care. And for non-cats and dogs, that level of care is usually quite extensive. At least more extensive than what you might think. Some animals, some small animals, don't always require a lot of care, but I'm noticing with reptiles, they certainly do require more care and a different kind of care. And of course, no matter what type of pet you get, anyways, so what type of no matter what type of pet you get, um, you need to be willing to spend time with that pet every day. You need to make sure that they are getting their adequate food and water and blah, 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 their shelter, everything that they need for that specific breed or for that specific type of animal. And, it could get into the whole, well, humans are animals too. But anyways, there's a lot that we could go into with that. But so some people don't like the pet because of that, because they feel like it places above them, but at the same time they want it to be a part of the family, which it is, but at the same time, even being with part of the family, that pet still needs care. They still need to be taken care of because at some point humans did yank them out of their environment. Well, I'm just saying, your great 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 times like a bajillion, 20 probably, parents did not live as pets. They lived in the wild. And you know that. It's part of you. It's part of your nature. Just like being a human is part of our nature. But anyways, so this video was like super long and it's mostly just me explaining the difference between husbandry and parenting when it comes to pets. I do kind of like husbandry. I just wish there was a better term for it, but it really does mean that. Like, I see you as an equal partner in this relationship, and I am accepting that I'm going to care for you and take care of you the rest of our life, or the rest of your life. So in some ways I do like it. I just don't like the patriarchal twist to it. But then again, is there a better term? I don't know. Anyways, we should probably wrap this video up though. What do you think, Jill? It's like 20 minutes long and I probably might have to edit it. I don't know. I need to work on my editing skills. Anyways, so please just keep that in mind before you get a pet, that they are with you for the long haul and that you do have a responsibility to take care of them and to do your best by them. And if you don't want that responsibility, don't get a pet. They're cute and sometimes furry or sometimes scaly, but they do require a lot of work. And if you're not ready for that, don't get a pet. Get a rock. Pet rock. There. Yeah, get a pet rock. They're easy. And you can leave them and forget about them and they won't die. Yeah, I can't forget about you. No, I can't. Okay, anyways, peace out. Love y'all.